The lock clicked into place at exactly 11:47 p.m. Taylor's frozen fingers were still 3 blocks away. Taylor Chin pressed her phone against her ear as she ran through the dark streets of Portland. Her breath came out in white clouds that disappeared into the December night. "Pick up, pick up, pick up," she whispered. The phone rang 4 times, then went to voicemail. Again. Her mother's voice, cheerful and recorded weeks ago. "You've reached the Chen family. Leave us a message." "Mom, it's me. Don't lock the doors. Please, I'm almost home. It's important. It's about Marcus Reed. Just please don't lock up yet." She hung up and ran faster. Her shoes slapped against the wet pavement. The cold air burned her lungs. 20 minutes earlier, Taylor had been at Java Junction, the coffee shop where she worked weekends. She was closing up, wiping down the last table, when she heard 2 men talking in the parking lot outside. The coffee shop's back door was propped open just a crack because the kitchen was too hot. At first, she didn't pay attention, just background noise. Then she heard a name that made her freeze. "The Chen family," one man said. His voice was rough, angry. "Tonight, they'll finally understand what it means to lose something." Taylor's hand stopped moving across the table. She set down her rag very slowly. "You sure about this, Marcus?" the second man asked. He sounded younger, nervous. "I'm sure," Marcus Reed said. "They humiliated me, said I wasn't good enough for their daughter. Well, they're going to learn that actions have consequences." Taylor's heart hammered. She knew Marcus Reed. He was 34, 10 years older than her sister Sophie. He'd asked their father for permission to date Sophie 6 months ago. Their dad had said no, not because Marcus was a bad person, but because Sophie was only 19 and Marcus had a history of angry outbursts. Their father had been gentle but firm. Marcus hadn't taken it well. "What time?" the younger man asked. "Midnight," Marcus said. "The house will be dark by then, everyone asleep. We go in through the basement window. The lock's been broken for months. I know because Sophie told me about it." And then they learn their lesson. Taylor heard footsteps. The men were walking away. She ran to the front window and watched a dark pickup truck pull out of the parking lot, no license plate visible in the darkness. She grabbed her phone and purse and ran for the door. The clock on the wall read 11:27 p.m., 33 minutes until midnight. It took 25 minutes to get home on foot. She didn't have a car, it was in the shop. Now, 3 blocks from home, she checked her phone again. 11:49 p.m. She'd called 5 times. No answer. Of course no answer. It was her own fault, really. For the past month, she'd been coming home late almost every night, sometimes from work, sometimes from her boyfriend Jake's apartment. Her parents had warned her. If she couldn't respect their midnight curfew, they'd start locking up at 11:45 whether she was home or not. "You're 21 years old, Taylor," her mother had said last week. "We're not trying to control you, but if you choose to live in our house, you follow our rules. We lock up at 11:45. If you're not home, you can sleep in your car." Taylor hadn't taken it seriously. She thought they were bluffing. She turned onto Oak Street. Her house was the blue one at the end. Every window was dark. No, no, no. She ran up the driveway. The front door was solid wood, no window. She grabbed the handle and turned. Locked. She pounded on the door. "Mom! Dad! Sophie! Wake up!" Nothing. She ran around to the back door. Also locked. She banged on it. "Please, someone wake up! It's an emergency!" Inside, the house was silent. Her family were all deep sleepers. Their bedrooms were on the second floor, far from the doors. Taylor pulled out her phone. 11:52 p.m. 8 minutes. She called her mother again, straight to voicemail. Her father's phone was probably on the kitchen counter. He never brought it upstairs. Sophie slept with her phone on silent. "Think, Taylor, think." The basement window. Marcus said the basement window lock was broken. She ran to the side of the house, dropped to her knees in the cold, wet grass. There it was, a small window half hidden behind her mother's hydrangea bushes. She pulled at it. It didn't move. She pulled harder. Still nothing. No, no, no! She pressed her face close. In the darkness, she could just barely see a new lock on the inside, a shiny metal bolt that definitely wasn't there before. Her father must have fixed it. Of course he had. He'd been meaning to do it for months. Taylor sat back on her heels. Her jeans were soaked through. She was shivering, and she had no way to get inside. She looked at her phone. 11:54 p.m. Call the police. That was the answer. Just call the police. She dialed 911, her fingers shaking from cold and fear. 911, what's your emergency? My name is Taylor Chen. I live at 847 Oak Street. There are men coming to my house at midnight. They're planning to hurt my family. I overheard them. Please send someone. Okay, ma'am, slow down. You overheard someone threatening your family? Yes, a man named Marcus Reed. He's angry because my father wouldn't let him date my sister. He said he's coming at midnight with another man. He said they're coming through the basement window, but I think my dad fixed the lock, so I don't know how they'll... Ma'am, where are you now? I'm outside my house. My family locked me out. They're all asleep. They can't hear me knocking. There was a pause. You're locked out of your house? Yes, but that doesn't matter. What matters is... Have you been drinking tonight, ma'am? Taylor's breath caught. What? No, I'm trying to tell you that my family is in danger. I understand you're concerned. We'll send an officer to check the area. But I need to ask, is it possible you misunderstood what you heard? Sometimes when we're tired or stressed. I know what I heard. Taylor's voice cracked. Please, just send someone now, before midnight. We'll have an officer in the area. Stay on the line with me, okay? Taylor looked at her phone. 11:56 p.m. 4 minutes. How long until they get here? Response time in your area is typically 8 to 12 minutes for a non-life-threatening call. 8 to 12 minutes? That's too long. They'll be here in 4 minutes. Ma'am, I need you to stay calm. If you see anyone approaching the house, stay hidden and stay on the line with me. Do not confront them. Taylor wanted to scream. Instead, she said, Okay, I'm going to hide. She ended the call. 8 to 12 minutes meant the police wouldn't arrive until after midnight. Maybe 12:08, maybe 12:12. By then, Marcus and his friend could already be inside. She looked at the dark house, her mother, her father, Sophie, all asleep, all unaware. Taylor made a decision. She picked up a rock from her mother's garden. It was heavy, smooth, the size of a softball. She walked to the living room window. I'm sorry, Mom, she whispered. She threw the rock as hard as she could. The sound of breaking glass shattered the quiet night. It was loud, violent, beautiful. Immediately, a dog started barking somewhere down the street, then another. Taylor grabbed the window frame and pulled herself up. Glass crunched under her hands, cutting through her thin gloves. She pushed the curtains aside and tumbled into the living room, landing hard on the carpet. Upstairs, she heard a shout, her father's voice. What in God's name? Footsteps, heavy running footsteps. Taylor scrambled to her feet. Dad, don't come downstairs. Call 911. The footsteps stopped. Taylor, is that you? The lights blazed on. Her father appeared at the top of the stairs in his pajamas, holding a baseball bat. Her mother was behind him, clutching her phone. What in God's name? Her father started. There are men coming, Taylor said quickly. Marcus Reed. He's planning to break in at midnight, to hurt you, to hurt us all. I heard him planning it. I tried to call. I tried to get home in time, but you locked me out. I'm sorry about the window. I'll pay for it, but we need to call the police right now. Her mother was already dialing. Yes, 847 Oak Street. We have a credible threat. Someone planning to break in. We need officers here immediately. Taylor checked her phone. 11:59 p.m. They waited in the dark living room, her father by the window, her mother in the hallway where she could see both the front and back doors. Taylor stood frozen in the middle of the room, glass crunching under her feet. The seconds ticked by. 11:59 became 12:01. Midnight. Nothing happened. Taylor's heart pounded. Had Marcus seen her break the window? Had he driven past, seen the lights come on, and changed his mind? 12:02, 12:03, still nothing. Maybe he's not coming, her mother whispered. Then they heard it, the sound of a car engine idling quietly. It was coming from the alley behind their house. Her father moved quickly to the back window. There's a truck, no lights. I see it, her mother said. They watched two figures get out of the truck. Even in the darkness, Taylor could make out Marcus's shape, tall, broad-shouldered. The younger man was smaller, hesitant in his movements. The two men approached the back of the house. They were carrying something, tools maybe, a crowbar. They walked straight to the basement window. Marcus bent down, testing it. When it didn't open, I heard Marcus's voice, muffled but angry. She said it was broken. The lock was broken. Maybe they fixed it, the younger man said. Then we used the door. Marcus stood up and turned toward the back door. That's when the police sirens became audible in the distance, growing louder. Marcus froze. Go, go now. The two men ran. They scrambled into their truck and the engine roared to life. Tires squealed as they backed out of the alley. 30 seconds later, two police cars pulled up in front of the house, their lights painting everything red and blue. Inside,
The next 3 hours were a blur. Police statements, descriptions. A female officer bandaged Taylor's hands where the glass had cut them. Another officer took photos of the basement window, the broken living room window, the tire tracks in the alley. They caught Marcus Reed 2 blocks away. The younger man, his cousin, was driving. They'd run a red light in their panic and a patrol car had pulled them over. In the back of the truck, officers found a crowbar, zip ties, and a can of gasoline. "You saved your family," the detective told Taylor as the sun started to rise. They were sitting at the kitchen table. Her mother had made coffee. "If you hadn't come home, if you hadn't heard what you heard..." She didn't finish the sentence. She didn't need to. Taylor's father sat down next to her. He hadn't said much all night. Now he put his hand over hers, carefully, avoiding the bandages. "I'm sorry," he said quietly. "I'm sorry we locked you out." "You were following your rules," Taylor said. "I'm the one who's been breaking curfew." "Rules don't matter more than family." Her father's voice was rough. "I was being stubborn, trying to teach you a lesson. I almost..." He stopped, swallowed hard. "I'm changing the locks today. And I'm giving you a key. No more curfew. You're an adult. I trust you." Taylor's mother wrapped her arms around both of them. "We owe you everything." Sophie came downstairs. She'd been in her room all night, processing. Now she looked at Taylor with red eyes. "He was going to hurt us because of me, because Dad said no to him." "None of this is your fault," Taylor said firmly. "Marcus made his own choices, bad choices." "You could have just stayed away. When they locked you out, you could have gone to Jake's apartment. You could have been safe." Taylor shook her head. "You're my family. There was never any other choice. My choice..." 3 months later, Taylor stood in the living room looking at the new window. You couldn't even tell which one had been replaced. The glass was perfect, clear. Marcus Reed was awaiting trial. Multiple charges: conspiracy to commit assault, attempted breaking and entering, possession of tools for burglary. His lawyer had tried to argue that he'd just been planning to vandalize the house, not hurt anyone. But the zip ties and gasoline told a different story. Taylor's phone buzzed. A text from her mother. Coming home late tonight. Don't worry, I have my key. Love you. Taylor smiled. She was about to text back when she heard a knock at the door. She opened it. Jake stood on the porch, holding flowers. Thought you might want to get dinner, he said. To celebrate. Celebrate what? 3 months since you became a hero, he grinned. Also, it's Tuesday. We could just celebrate Tuesday. Taylor laughed. Let me grab my coat. As she locked the door behind her, using her own key, the one her father had given her the morning after, she thought about that night. The cold, the fear, the sound of breaking glass. She thought about being locked out, alone in the dark, with her family in danger and no way to reach them. And she thought about the choice she'd made, to break down the barriers between them, whatever it took. Some doors are meant to stay open. Some locks are meant to be broken. Taylor Chen had learned that lesson in the hardest way possible, and she'd never forget it. The end.